on because I'm always taking it out.
So cool because like the technology mentions that mommy was mentioning like write it down, email. I'm like, this is gonna be so dated. like you're gonna be using email in 2075 and shit, but you dating yourself, but that's the point of the video, I guess. Okay.
So where is it? I'm sorry.
Nice, fine. You want to go into
Here, right?
To find the folders, and then it's gonna be the number 1, Whitehead. That's the first one. That way it can always come because it's going to be alphabetical order.
Okay.
Intuitively, you can probably see it. Boom. There it is. And see, those are the old ones. And then boom, those are the new ones.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, so here we go. What is your full name?
Walter Winchell Thomas Whitehead.
And what is your place? Where were you born? And what's the date of your birth?
I was born in Florville, Georgia in 1940, November 2nd.
What county was that?
Butts County.
Now, you November 1st and November 2nd?
Both.
Let's show the fun, share the fun story.
Actually, I was born where it was like snowing and stuff like that. So
okay.
I was born
November.
I was born at night, November about 11:30 at night, November the 1st. So when they took the information to the Notary Republic the next day, that was the 2nd. So he just wrote down that was the day I was born. It wasn't that much different.
Yeah.
About 5 minutes. I'm about 5 minutes off either way.
Got it.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Celebrating your birthday.
2nd year.
And you found out it was
when I got my birth certificate, that's when I realized. And then I looked, I wasn't that much different no way.
Fun fact about,
as long as you get my birthday present, and then I'll take either day.
I love it.
So the next question is, where did you grow up?
Florville, Georgia.
When did you leave Florville, Georgia?
I left Florville, Georgia in August of 1957.
Wow. Why did you leave? Why did you leave?
Boredom.
How young were you? So 57, you were 17, right?
Right.
Wow.
Well, no, I'm sorry, 58.
58.
Yeah, I was 17. That's what I was
You were
thinking
turning
about.
18.
It was 1958.
And you were bored, so you left.
Oh yeah, I was bored to death with Georgia. I mean, like it was in the middle of nowhere. Like my hometown was so small. Like you come, like I remember I was going there. I said, "Oh, I'm coming into my hometown," and the guy said, "What?" I said, I just passed through my hometown."
Tell me this though. Tell me this. Like there wasn't a discussion about going to college and getting a job.
Oh no.
That wasn't happening. So, wow.
Well, getting a job, yeah.
But not so much college wasn't a discussion going
on. That was like some people went. There were people that went to college.
From Florville.
Yeah, like my stepbrother went.
Your stepbrother was? Your stepbrother was?
Well, his name was Paul Mays. My brother, my father's second marriage.
And he was from Florville.
Well, he's from Indian Springs, which is adjacent.
I remember you told me
Florville.
the thing we saw.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
Yeah, it's adjacent to Florville. But he's from Indian Springs. He lived in Florville too. When my father first married his mother, they lived in the house that I was born in. Well, the house that I was partially raised
in Florville.
Wow.
Well, the house he actually built. My father built the house.
And that's the one I had seen, I'm sure. But
yeah, down there by Tina's.
And then right across the way was Renelle.
Wow.
Crazy.
Actually, the house wasn't there though. That wasn't the original house.
Okay.
Yeah, they tore that down way back in the 60s, 70s, something.
Wow. So what?
Was a prefabricated.
What is your current age?
I'm 80.
You are 80.
Yeah.
And you turn 80 November 2nd. So, Walter, can you do the date and time today?
Yeah. Do you know what today's date is?
Well, this is the 21st first day of spring.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
man.
Come on. Spring equinox.
That's right. What is your current occupation?
Real quick
Okay.
before you go. It's currently 9:30 a.m. It's Sunday, March 21st,
Yeah.
2021.
What is your current occupation?
Private tutor.
Okay, historically, what was your first career, I guess?
First career.
Or job.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't even call it a job. I don't know. Well, first job where I really got, where I had to use the money to pay my rent.
Sure.
I was a dishwasher.
Oh.
That was in Jacksonville, Florida.
Really?
When I first ran away from home.
Wow.
I ran away from home. I got to Jacksonville that Wednesday. I got a job that Thursday.
So you went south.
Dishwasher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, but I was trying to hook up with my cousins because they were going to Orlando.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
going. My grandmother had told me I couldn't go with them. I said, "Well, I just have to go without them." So I hit the house.
Wow. How did you
So,
get to Jacksonville?
I hitchhiked.
Wow.
You hitchhiked from Clovilla.
Yeah.
From Clovilla to Jacksonville, Florida, and you were a dishwasher, and you had a place, and you were paying your rent. Fascinating.
That is incredible.
At the age of
17.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is my father. It is.
But actually, the job only lasted 2 weeks because it was like a temporary job. I didn't know it. I thought it was permanent. I thought that was my new career. Anyway, the cook husband was the dishwasher, and she had him arrested.
Oh.
For obvious reasons. So he was getting out of jail. So actually, I was just in this place. I didn't know it.
Wow. Now back then it was the 50s, and so like, how was it racially hitchhiking and stuff like that? I mean, were you nervous? Were you like, you didn't give a shit? Was that even on your mind?
I didn't give a shit.
Wow. And now the people who you were working with, were they black? Were they white?
Well, the guy I worked for was white. I think he was Jewish, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But the people I was working with were black.
Oh, the cook.
They were just a cook and a couple of waitresses.
Yeah. You know what kind of restaurant it was?
It was just a little work in the work area, in the manufacturing area, just a little restaurant where people come and have dinner.
Like a diner?
Yeah, like on during the week, like weekdays.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
It was no fabulous restaurant.
Right. Sure. All right, cool.
Anyway, so
Funny.
I got he had told me I had to go, so because he explained to me, I got angry because he didn't tell me in the beginning.
Yeah.
I could have been looking for something else.
Yeah. So what was the career or job that you did the longest, or you have done the longest? Tutoring. Got
in
you.
your life. In your life.
What was your dream career as a child? Like, what did you want to be as a child?
As a child, I don't know. I better not tell y'all.
Now, mine is gonna be like great grand, but but think about it. Like, if you want to be authentic,
I came along during the time of Chuck Yeager. You know who Chuck Yeager?
I've heard the name.
He was a famous test pilot.
Okay.
Oh.
And that was the thing back then when I was growing up, test pilot.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to be.
Oh.
I wanted to be a test pilot.
What does that mean? Like, what do you test your
jets?
Oh,
jet plane. That's when the jets were first coming out.
Oh, gotcha.
They were testing Chuck Yeager, and it was a lot, but he was the most famous, Then you had the astronaut. I never wanted to be an astronaut, but I did want to be a test pilot. Yeah, until I discovered Count Basie. Then I want to be a conductor, jazz.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Huh.
And I really want to be into music after that, especially when my grandmother got a piano.
Wow.
What was your grandmother's name?
Mary Stewart.
Mary Stewart.
What?
This is your maternal grandmother or your paternal?
Yeah, maternal.
Gotcha.
My paternal grandmother named Alberta Whitehead. I never got a chance to communicate with her because she couldn't talk.
Was she mute or
something like that?
Oh.
I never knew whether she was
off.
mental. I don't know what a mental thing was, but I was pretty young.
But Alberta Whitehead, you never heard her voice.
No. The way she said like bo now, stuff like that. But she couldn't talk. I never had a conversation with her. Now her sister was my first school teacher. That was my.
So you're like, what is that? Your great aunt? Your great auntie? What you would call that? Yeah. And what was her name?
Irene Solomon.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think I've heard these names once or twice.
They used to call her Aunt Sister. That was my father's name. Yeah. But that was my grandmother's sister. She was my
Alberta's sister.
Yeah.
And she was a Solomon. What was her maiden name? Alberta's maiden name?
Clark.
Huh. That's why I was a Stewart, Clark and Bell reunion, I remember.
Yeah. She was Clark. She's from the Clarks.
So Irene Solomon maiden name was Clark as well.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Sorry. They lived forever, like I think she died when she was about 90. But most of them lived to 100, Like she had sisters then when she was my teacher in their hundreds,
So Irene, fact, Alberta.
Yeah, one of her brothers. Yeah, one of her brothers died at 110.
Clark. And he kept obviously last name Clark.
Yeah.
You remember his name?
Uncle. Oh, I forgot now. So, what was his name? I can't think of his name right now, but I used that name a million times.
Wow, 110. And they was all down there in Flovilla?
Well, not Flovilla. They was in a place called Jenkinsburg.
Georgia?
Jenkinsburg. The next place up from Jackson is Jenkinsburg. And
in Florida.
Georgia.
Oh, in Georgia.
So there's a Jackson, Georgia?
Georgia. I didn't know that.
So it was like Flovilla, Indian Springs, and then Jackson, Georgia, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And then
about 5 miles north of that was like Jenkinsburg and then McDonald. And actually, I think they were from McDonald, not Jenkinsburg. They were McDonald.
That's amazing. So what?
McDonald is the place that Shaq was supposed to be a policeman at one time.
McDonald, Georgia? That's funny.
What is your mother's full name?
Her name was Emma Bell Stewart.
And your father's full name?
Henry Whitehead. Henry Thomas Whitehead.
Henry Thomas Whitehead.
He's a bishop.
Wow.
Church of God in Christ.
What is your fondest memory about your mom? Like a moment when it was like really happy, it was really joyful, for fun, or
take your time. This is important, right there. I've never really heard her. I've heard no stories of Annabelle Stewart.
Yeah, Annabelle Stewart, one of the meanest women I ever known. But she was nice.
Was she from? Where was she from?
She was from Flovilla.
She was from Flovilla. She grew up there. Wow.
Was she born also there? Wow.
So the Stewarts are like deep in there. The Stewarts are still down there, huh?
Yeah. Well, my mother was she had after she divorced my father, she had a restaurant. She had a cafe and a restaurant, what you call a juke joint out in the woods with the jukebox and stuff. Then she had a restaurant. Entrepreneurial. Yeah, and she had a cafe in Jackson.
Jackson, Georgia.
Yeah, in fact, 3 people got murdered there over the years, One was murdered by my classmate murdered another girl at my sister's in my mama's place.
Right.
And another guy killed his best friend. And Dot-Head.
I heard about her. Yeah, that's the one who liked you. Man, she was.
Her brother got killed.
That's a sultry woman. Like.
Her brother.
Wait, she was looking at me. How's your daddy? I'm like, she's there. Mommy heard of her and everything. And when I was down there in Georgia in college, like how everybody just knew me, she as well.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, like you brother. And she was just like, how's your daddy? I'm like, dang. And he was just laughing like that woman still. Dot-Head. Wow. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, she was a trip.
Yeah, she was.
That's fun. I went to school with her, and I never remembered her. I never remember her from high school. That was Estelle's best friend. all through high school.
Wow.
I didn't remember her.
Yeah.
But
so maybe your fondest memory could be that she was entrepreneurial.
yeah.
Did you give a shit about that?
What?
Your mother's being entrepreneurial, was that important? Was that cool that you noticed?
Yeah, I used to go up there and work and go up to the restaurant, up to the cafe. And then that's where I used to hang out at juke joint. I used to hang out in
cool.
Yeah. Well, see, actually, my grandmother was my actual mother.
I can relate.
I was raised by my grandmother.
Alberta.
Yeah. No. Mary.
What was her full name again?
Mary Stewart.
Mary Stewart, and then.
See, I left home when I was 4 years old.
So Mary Stewart was kind of like raising you.
Yeah, she did raise me from the time I was about 4 years old.
What's your fondest memory of Mary Stewart?
Oh, shit. All my memories of her is fond memories. Even when she whipped me. I remember my one day she was whipping me and I ran from her. And she threw a brick at me and hit me in the back. And I went and looked back and she was laughing. And another time I was messing with some wasp nests, and she said, you better leave them wasps alone. I just kept. She said, okay, I'm telling you, you better not get stung. And eventually one of them came out there and hit me. Wow. And I went running to her, screaming, and she grabbed me and whipped me.
Oh, wow.
I just got stung. And she whipped my ass.
Wow.
And another time I remember I was when I was about 15, me and my cousin ran away from home. We stayed about 2 weeks. And we hadn't had no bath, nothing to eat. I came back and I was dirty and filthy, And my grandmother looked at me and she started laughing and crying at the same time.
Wow.
I never saw that before. She was laughing and crying at the same time.
How young were you at the time?
I was 15.
Wow. That's
incredible. So I'm just
incredible.
putting it together. So Mary Stewart, right? She didn't have a middle name?
No.
Mary Stewart. Her husband was Anderson Stewart.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then Isabel Stewart,
that was my
mother was with Henry Whitehead.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, see, when like I said, I left home when I was 4.
Do you know why?
Because my dad spanked me.
Okay.
Well, what happened is, from the time I can remember, my grandfather used to come out of the house to get water from the well. And I had just learned how to walk. So I would lead him back home. And so I would spend the whole day with my grandmother and grandfather. That started when I was about 2 years old, I guess.
Wow.
And then I would lead him back home.
Yeah.
And then well, as far as I was concerned, I guess my house was just a homeless shelter. I just hung out there at night. So I didn't know too much about it. But anyway, I knew more about my grandmother. Even then, I knew more about my grandmother.
Yeah.
And because she used to sing all day. I remember that. She used to sing constantly. And then she used to read the newspaper all the time. Yeah, but anyway, she used to love oatmeal. And I hated oatmeal, but I would eat it just because she was eating it. And because she taught me how to read too. But anyway, I would love oatmeal. So we went to church, revival meeting. We used to walk to church.
Yeah.
Me, my grandmother, my mother, all of it. So on the way back home, I wanted to go to my grandmother's house. But instead of me asking to go to my grandmother's house, I knew they were going to say, yeah, I wanted some oatmeal. Because I knew, in other words, that's just saying, that was the way of saying, I want to go to my grandmother. I want some oatmeal. And they said, you can't have no oatmeal this time. And I started crying. And my dad grabbed me and picked me up and spanked me. And what did he do that for? My grandmother, him and my grandmother went off. And this was the church.
How young were you?
I was 4.
And this was Tiny Grove Baptist.
Yeah. Our house was here and my dad's house was there. They got so busy arguing, my grandmother walked right past her house, came all the way to my mother and father's house, and me and Vanille was in the house. And they were still out there in the yard arguing.
Wow.
About him spanking me.
Wow.
I said, I know where I'm gonna live from now on. So I sit up there, and soon as mom and dad went to sleep, about 12 o'clock, I left.
You were 4.
Yeah.
Oh
And I
my
left.
God.
Went to my grandmother's house. Found out about 20 years later, my daddy was behind me. All that. I thought I did something big. I walked in my grandmother's house, and I stayed there until I left home.
Wow.
So like I said, my grandmother was actually my mother.
That is incredible. So what is your fondest memory then about your dad? I guess about the father who actually raised you, you know?
Because you talked about Anderson a lot. I hear more about Anderson than I do about Henry.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I know too much about it. Well, my mother and father divorced when I was 9.
Oh.
And he married somebody else, and you know.
Was you have a relationship with her?
Who?
Your stepmom, I guess?
No. Well, I was in love with her daughter.
All right. Well, all right.
That's funny.
And we was the same age.
You remember her name?
Louise. Louise Mays.
Oh, they were maids.
And she was so crazy, but I was so crazy about it. And to come to find out, me and her birthday was the same day.
What?
And I was so happy. I was, oh, your birthday.
Wow.
And she hit me. She hit me because my birthday was.
She was mad.
But anyway, they moved to Indian Spring. He built the house for them. You know, my dad was good at building houses. You know, so he built the house for
Indian Springs when you were 9.
Yeah.
But you say with Mary and Anderson.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But we still went to school together. They went to the same school. I remember every day.
So she was your stepsister technically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was 6 of them.
Huh.
Estella said the youngest one was my father's. I don't know.
Really?
But anyway, it was like 3 boys and 3 girls.
Who else was there with you and Mary and Anderson?
Well, all of them except Marybelle. I mean, Vanille, Horace Jr., Jimmy Lewis, Bobby Lee. It was 9 of us.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, my grandma.
So where did Mabel go when they divorced?
Well, she went to Atlanta. She got a job at Georgia Tech. She worked at Georgia Tech until she got her own place in Jackson. And then she moved to Jackson.
They got the business.
She married. She married Jane's father.
What's his name?
Wiley Shannon.
Shannon, huh? Huh.
And we all cried when we found out she was marrying him because he had killed his first wife.
Oh, wow.
And we thought he was gonna kill my mother. Oh. And turned out he was the absolute nicest man I ever met.
So Jenny was the one whose funeral I went to, right?
No, Jenny's still alive.
What's her name? Jenny?
Yeah. Jenny Shannon.
Jenny Shannon. And that's your stepsister, essentially.
Yeah. That's my younger. Yeah. And then
she's still alive.
Never put all this together.
Where is she? She's still in?
She's in Jackson. No, she's in Griffin, Georgia.
I'm sure I heard her name before. Estella's up there too. That's her auntie.
Yeah, she had 3 kids. That's the one Liz looks so much like.
Okay. Fascinating. Huh. So I know it makes sense because that was your mother's parents, the Stewarts. So it makes sense, yeah.
So my grandmother,
my mom's mom.
Yeah.
My grandmother raised all of her grandkids.
Wow.
Although our parents had money now, my aunt was married to a guy in the wood business. He was well off. Yeah. And then my mother had the cafes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well-to-do black people.
Yeah. We insisted on staying with our grandmother.
Wow.
As children.
Yeah. And even Marybelle, the one that died, she went to Macon. My aunt was crazy about her. She had a cafe in Macon. Wow. In fact, that's where my mother learned the cafe business from her. Oh. She was Little Richard's godmother.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I heard you like all Georgia.
Yeah. So she they always wanted her there, but she just couldn't stay away from my grandmother. She was always get down there, get the crying to come back.
Wow.
Mary Stewart, huh?
Yeah, and then I had another Mary Stewart sister. Her name was Estella.
Oh, was she named after? That's how Estella got her name, I guess, huh?
Yeah, she named Estella Lawrence.
Oh.
And then my grandmother had another sister named Emma, and she lived in Forsyth. That's where Vanille stayed with her.
Her name from your mother.
Yeah, Vanille stayed with her a lot.
Oh.
But they would always want to come back to my grandmother. Though.
How many sisters? Do you know how many sisters she had? The Clark sisters?
No, they wasn't Clark. They were Smiths.
Oh.
My grandmother.
Oh.
That was my father's side with Clark. Well, it was like.
But your father's side was Whitehead, right? Your father's side is Whitehead, though, right?
Yeah, my father was Whitehead.
But his mother.
His mother. Well, see, I didn't know my people on his side, on my grandfather's side. I only knew him.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember when you was asking me about them people down here? I think he was related to them. I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because that was the Carr family.
Yeah. So we wasn't really Whitehead. We actually Carr.
Yeah.
But
some creepy white dude and slave breeder in real life from Wales. Robert Carr.
Yeah, they had brought him over to breed slaves, And he ended up with my great grandmother. They ended up having about 3 or 4 kids. Yeah. And he was the town drunk. I don't know whatever happened to him.
Been consistent. I was a child.
I don't know whatever happened to him, but his one of his sons, my grandfather's name was Bob Whitehead.
Wow.
And he was one of the kind of people they said when people see him coming, they would hide. Because they knew he was gonna talk them to death.
Okay, well, what was your, I guess, worst memory about your mom first? Let's do your mom first.
I would say the worst memory about my mother was one day it was Christmas. And we was at my grandma. She was at my grandma's house. They always used to make. How young were you? I was about 17, 16.
Oh.
But what happened is her and my.
Right before you left.
Yeah, her and her husband had gotten into it, but we didn't know it. But they had gotten to it because he wanted to go somewhere.
This the dude who killed his first wife.
Yeah. Good. And then when we know anything, I heard my sister say, "She's fighting out. They fighting out there," and I went in here. My grandmother. They were wrestling over the gun, and I thought he was trying to shoot her. And I'm jumped up there, and I was in front of the gun, and they turned the gun loose because I was standing in front of it. But what it was, my mother was trying to shoot the tires off his car, but we got it all backward. We thought he was trying to kill her. We thought he was trying to kill her, and that was a big deal, And so I took the gun. They threw the gun away, and my grandmother took it. That's the way I got the money to run away from home.
Gotcha.
Which is why
I sold the gun. A year later.
Nobody 17 before you left. Wow. Now, why is that your worst memory? Why is that your worst memory of your mother?
Because that's when I found out how mean my mother was. When I realized that she was,
Wow. So what's the worst memory you have of your dad?
My father. I barely have any memories. I don't have no bad memories of my father because I only saw him when he was bringing us stuff. I used to go to his house, and I used to spend the night with him before he remarried. He was staying by himself, and I used to spend the night with him. He used to read the Bible to me. He was a preacher, Bishop, right? And he wanted me to be a preacher. He used to read the Bible to me every night, and then he worked on the railroad. He was a cook, and whenever the cars come through there, and the section hand, I would go spend the whole day with him.
Wow.
And he wanted me to be a preacher, and all day that's what he'd be talking about, me being a preacher.
Wow.
I had a lot of good memories. I would say the worst memory I have of my father when he spanked me that night.
When you ran away and
it's funny, like
I don't really have no bad memories of my family. Really wasn't.
I'm getting like that whole concept. We watched The Dark Knight the other day, and it was like you either die a hero.
Mm-hmm.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that with like certain people, when you spend like just a weekend or two with them, it's like it could be good memories.
Yeah.
But when you stay with somebody,
Every
you
day,
know, it's like you
Mhm.
live long enough to become a villain like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You get like the
Yeah,
full
yeah.
360 degrees of a personality
Yeah.
versus a 90 degree.
Well, you know, none of us are, when we meet somebody, we're not really meeting that person. We're meeting the person they want you to meet.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like
they're going to keep that up, you know,
and
until.
if it's short enough,
Right.
overall, that person is great.
Yeah,
like,
that's a nice person.
Spend some time with that person. Just give it a couple of years. Give it a week. You know, just spend some time.
So that's why I say, that's why I don't have no bad memory. I don't really have no bad memory of my mother and father because I wasn't really around.
And at 9, you left.
I saw them every day, but I wasn't with them. You know, I saw them all the time. My mother used to come every day and give my grandmother money. My father bring give them up. I didn't really associate with them, so they were just some people. You know, they were just some relatives.
And gave birth to like
but my grandparents, you know, like my grandfather was guitar player.
What was your worst memory with Anderson?
I didn't have no voice. Well, how can you have bad memory of a blind man?
So Anderson was always blind.
Yeah. Well, he went blind. He saw my sister. That was the only one of his grandkids that he saw.
Which one?
Vania.
He saw for them.
And that was it. He didn't see the rest of us. Because none of us believed he was blind.
Because he would do things like shade right?
Yeah, we thought he was faking, you know. He played the guitar all the time. And he did that for a living too. And, he taught me how to play guitar. And of course I forgot, but that's where he made it. One way he made it vivid.
That's amazing.
He was a hustler, actually, my grandfather.
So no worst memory with Anderson.
Well, except when he hit me with that, when he countered with me with that stick. No, I ain't no bad. Well, yeah, he used to take my money. When I would go to work, he would take our money. Yep. Hey, bro, how much you make this week? $10. And I would be mad.
Wow.
Because I'd be lying because I made 15. I knew he was going to get something out of it. So
yeah, it's wisdom.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite thing about being a child?
Christmas.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
Like, it's cold down here in Georgia.
That doesn't make no difference. You don't know if you ain't never been where it's warm out. You know. I was upset because it was warm when I came there late.
I get that. When I'm in Atlanta, like, oh, where's the snow? I'm like, what you mean? But in LA, it's fascinating. Huh?
Well, I don't know. I had good memories as a kid. Even in school, you know, like from day one. Although me and my cousin set the woods on fire my first day of school. And
wait, was it just a fire or did it like get?
Oh, they put it out. You know, the big boys saw it. You know, we were down there. Let's set the world on fire. And we actually deliberately set. It was like pine straw.
Wow.
And
that's wild.
But
what was the most stressful thing about being a child? About your childhood?
I don't know. I would say the most stressful thing about being a child was during the summertime. There wasn't nothing to do. You know, cause living back in the woods, you know, we couldn't go swimming. We didn't have no library. We didn't have nothing, you know, like our toys that we haven't had, you know, but it wasn't nothing to do.
Yeah.
You know,
so go back to Christmas.
I ended up reading.
Go back to Christmas being your fondest memory. Like, why?
Oh, because that's when all the relatives from out of town came, all my aunts and uncles, and then the people would give us money, and then our grandmother would let us run free. We could drink a little wine, you know, and then we eat all day, you know, and it was beautiful, you know.
That's
Yeah.
so awesome. It sounds.
You want to take over the
In
questions?
fact, I got my first kiss on Christmas.
That is so sweet. Who was your first kiss?
Her name was Christine Lassiter. Oh, I mean, I was 18 then. You know, I had to win. I was a big shot from out of town.
That's so cool.
So we are at number 13, but he's already talked about his first job.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But 14 we haven't asked. So.
Cool. What was your favorite job?
My favorite job
was good, baby.
Tutoring.
Oh, good.
Tutoring. At Trade
Tutoring.
Tutoring
Tech. For the
specifically.
job, getting paid.
Yeah, specifically.
Tutoring at Trade Tech. That was
why?
Oh, I love to tutor. I love to teach.
So
Now,
why at Trade Tech versus, you know, on your own, other places and stuff? What made that?
But that wasn't a job. That was self-employed. I was talking about where I was getting a paycheck.
Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, that was the first. I was tutoring. I got a paycheck. You know, when you said job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, tutoring my favorite job. Period.
So, like specifically at Trade Tech, when you didn't pay, like, why?
Because that's the only place I ever tutored where I got paid by my company. You know, the school district paid me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What did you like about that?
Well, see, I started out tutoring biology, and then I went from biology, and then physics, and then chemistry.
Wow.
How young were you when you started tutoring? When did you get into it? 30.
Yeah.
Around our age, like.
I was and then I got a job working in the biology lab as a lab. Well, actually, that's where I started tutoring. I got a job working in the lab, and most of the students were nurses. So, me being crazy about women, I was glad to help them. So, they liked me so well for helping them with their prerequisites. You know, they wanted me to tutor them in the nursing program.
Wow.
So they started bringing me their textbooks. So I was reading the textbooks and tutoring them out of the textbooks. You know? So, I was getting paid, you know. So, but after that, I got my own, started doing it on my own.
That's amazing.
I've had other jobs that I liked. I mean, I even had sales jobs that I liked. When I was selling Herbalife, I liked that.
Tell me about a time where you felt the most powerful.
What do you mean?
Just listen to the question and just answer it however you feel it comes to you. Tell me about a time where you felt the most powerful.
Well, it was during that time.
Elaborate.
I mean, tutoring, you know, when I'm helping people, I know I'm giving them some information. A lot of them wouldn't even be able to get that information if it wasn't for me. And then they went out and paid a lot of money, you know, and this was like, you know, anatomy, physiology, and microbiology, and chemistry. That's, to some people, that's like way out of the way, you know. And people look at, are you sure you human? And, you know, you really feel
powerful.
Yeah, I think that's why I stayed with tutors.
So do you still feel powerful?
Yeah, I still feel the same way. Yeah, because it was, I was never, contrary to most people's belief, I've never considered myself that smart. But I was always determined to learn. And I put a lot of effort in learning stuff, you know, and I know how hard it is for people. It didn't make no difference to me. For some reason, I like stuff when it's difficult. You know, that's the stuff I like best. And I think that's why I ended up a math major. You know? It's that, And so, but I know I succeeded in those classes because I loved it. I love the ass kicking that I was getting, you know. I loved it, you know. I mean, even when I was at Cal State in geometry, advanced geometry, I was up to the board. I was on this black person in the class, and all the, oh, how did you get that? Well, oh, how do you say that? You know, like they trying to embarrass me. I enjoyed that, you know.
Because you overcame it and you felt powerful. Wow, I get that. You know, I was reading this book that said, I forgot where it came from. I think it was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was like to really know a person, find out where they get their sense of power. Where do they feel important? You know, and then you get to really know them. Yeah. You know,
I'm
fascinating.
I think in that area, you know, education, because I know, like, when I remember I took a class. One of the first class I took at Cal State. My first calculus class I took at Cal State.
Wow.
And I was the only black person in the class.
Wow.
I think it's about one more. But this was what was so fascinating is when time came for the first test, I looked back, half of the class was behind me. They were sitting behind me, and the teacher was a Korean. He said, "Whitehead." I said, he said, "Come over here." He made me sit up front next to him, facing.
Wow. What year was it? What year did you graduate from Cal State, LA?
I think it was 75.
Class of 75?
I spent so much time there. But
did you finish in 4 years, or you took a
No. Yeah. You know, I trying to think. No, that was trade tech. 75. I finished about 80. Yeah.
Class of 80.
Yeah.
But you was like off and on. Why didn't you finish in 4 years? What was it?
Well, like I said, when I started touring there. After that, I was at Trade Tech for about 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
In a 2-year class. But I was there to tutor. I was taking classes so I could tutor. You know?
Wow.
And then I finally went to Cal State, LA. I was still touring at Trade Tech.
Wow.
Then I went to Cal State, LA. That's when I started tutoring privately, when I was at Cal State, LA. And I was just trying to take everything, you know. I just took all the classes that I liked, you know.
How did you pay for school?
Well, when I first went to Trade Tech, they had something called a WIN program.
Okay.
And they paid for that. They bought all my books and all that.
What was that program? WIN. What was the program? The WIN program?
They called it Work Incentive, something like that. Work Incentive, something like that. It came right after the Watts riot.
Anyway, was it for minorities or something?
Yeah.
That is interesting.
A lot of black people got their first college education was through that program.
Shut up.
Yeah, the WIN program.
It was like a reparation kind of thing.
Oh, they gave you the money to get to school. They'll help you get a car. They paid your car payments. They paid for your gas money. They bought all your textbooks. They did everything but took the class for you.
And that's what you used to pay for Cal State, LA.
No, well, by the time I got to Cal State,
that
LA.
Was for Trade Tech.
Oh, gotcha.
By the time I got to Trade Tech, Cal State, LA, I had so many students, and I was making, you know, I was doing so good, and I didn't need no help.
So you paid for your own school at Cal State?
I paid for Cal State, yeah.
Wow.
So how so you transferred after you did the 2-year program at Trade Tech to go to Cal State, LA?
Well, I did the 2-year program at Trade Tech, and then I tutored for 4 years at Trade Tech. Until they just ran me out. And so
you're going to Cal State, LA
Cal
now.
State.
You went to Cal State, LA as like a sophomore?
Yeah.
Junior?
I started at the beginning.
You're a freshman.
Yeah.
Your credits didn't transfer over?
Yeah, they all transferred, but I want to get everything, you know. I was in no hurry. No, my outlook on education is different from other people.
Yeah,
You can't compare me with other people from education.
I've learned that a long time.
Yeah, I went through the whole. I started at the very beginning. You know.
Do you know how many years were you there?
Oh,
At Cal State LA?
let me see. Let's see. I was there about, I don't know, about 6 years.
Mm. Do you remember how old were you at your freshman year?
At Trade Tech,
Cal State LA?
No, I don't remember.
If you
I'm
finish,
in my 30s.
Yeah, because I remember I'm just doing this. If you finish Cal State LA,
now,
and you're at 1980, then you were about 40 or 39.
I was 30 when I went to Cal, when I went to Trade Tech.
Gotcha. Dang, so you had 10 years of education. I believe it's fascinating.
Yeah, I was 30.
That's rich.
And
you finished at the age of 40 at Cal State LA.
Yeah.
In 1980. Yeah. Fascinating.
I didn't really finish. I just stopped going. I just kept. I would go back, you know.
Yeah. Did you get a bachelor's degree?
Yeah. And in pure math.
That's a beautiful language. He said you didn't finish. You just stopped going.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that.
Well, I'm still going.
Wow.
I never quit my education. From the first day I stepped in the China Grove Elementary School, I never quit. You know? Even when I was hitchhiking, even during those 10 years from the time I left school till I went back to college, I was taking correspondence courses, I was taking night courses. I spent most of my time in the library. You know, I even got a job as a writer, newspaper writer during that time.
What newspaper?
It was a California entertainment guy. I was entertainment editor. And so I was always into education. My education started when I dropped out of high school.
You don't have a high school diploma?
Wow. I got the GED thing, you know, later on.
This is
incredible.
This is a robust, rich interview.
That's incredible.
It's a great conversation so far. Let's pivot a bit, and let's talk about when was your first traveling experience?
Traveling
experience. When was your first?
When I left home.
Elaborate.
Well, when I hitchhiked from Jacksonville.
Gotcha.
When I hitchhiked from Proville to Jacksonville, that was my first
traveling experience.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I didn't have those elaborate traveling like tours and tour buses. I was all out there by myself.
Have you ever traveled internationally?
No.
I remember you told me that. As long as you know, how it came.
No.
Where do you enjoy traveling?
Oh, I haven't traveled in so long now. I don't know whether I would or not, but I did then.
What did you enjoy about it? What did you enjoy? What did you love about traveling?
I don't know. Just the fact that I was traveling. I don't know. Well, see, that was just going to Florida. That was no big deal. Well, I remember I went to New York from Florida. And
how did you get there?
On a tramp truck, which you never heard of.
I know tramp was
tramp truck.
The bums, right? Tramp.
Yeah. So what happened before they got the Latinos in here doing the field work? They used to have the bombs and the alcoholic and, and people like that. And they would pick them up in the cities and take them to the field.
What?
And they were doing it in Miami. In Miami, they would pick people up and take them to New York to work in the fields.
So they would do that to get cheap labor.
Yeah, or to get labor, period. Whoever gonna do that. Anyway, so me and my two cousins, I talked them into catching the truck. And we went, I didn't know it was called a tramp truck now when I was catching it. Because it was when I was living in Orlando. I had a friend, and it was about 5 or 6 of us living in the same room. But one of the guys in the room had been there. He had been on that. And he called it the season. And he was lying to us. He was telling us how great it was. He said, oh man, I walk around every day with $100 in my pocket, and man, I was loaded. And I was up there in New York, and I had all them white women and stuff like that. Man, he had us. Oh yeah, he had us totally. And we got to Miami, and I saw this guy standing out there named Floyd. He was getting people to go to New York, and I talked Eddie, I talked Joe and Eddie into going. They didn't want to go. I said, come on. I said, we get to New York, we don't have to go to no back doors and no more back doors, and we can get us a white woman and everything like that.
So going in the back doors is like because you're black.
Oh yeah, you couldn't go in the front doors in the South.
And Joey was your cousin.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Oh shit. And Eddie.
Well, you didn't meet him. His name was Eddie Baker. That was Uncle Harvey's stepson. But anyway, I talked them into going to New York, and we got to New York. And the first day we went, we was out there picking lima beans. We made just enough money to eat.
Wow.
And after this guy telling us all the money we could make, every day we were making just enough money to eat.
What were y'all saying?
They had a camp. We was in a barn. Oh yeah, and about the white women.
It sounded like a denture.
About the white
women.
About the
white women.
About the white.
Okay.
We got this house.
Yeah.
It was a barn. It was converted into a house for us to live in.
Yeah.
And the first day we were there, this white guy came to the door, came to the fence, and he had some daughter. He said, if I catch any of these guys over here looking at my daughter, I'm gonna kill every one of y'all. That is the white woman. We was afraid to look over there. I mean, it was right next to her. We was scared to look over there.
Oh my God, that's funny.
We've not seen this. I forgot what it was, but it was something. It might have been YouTube where they had Fannie Lou Hamer, and it was the 50s or some shit. It was the 50s or 60s, and it was Fannie Lou Hamer talking about Mississippi, and they were like indentured servants or some shit.
Oh yeah.
It's the 50s. It's 1950 something.
Yeah.
And these people were living on this senator's or this congressman or senator. I think it was a congressman. His land. And they were working the fields and shit. Sharecroppers, yeah. In the 50s. It blew me away. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, that's what it well, actually slavery just became sharecropping.
Yeah, so it's they were like, hey, you guys don't have to pay for nothing.
Yeah.
We will take, essentially they're dependent, like we'll take care of you, stay on my land, and in exchange for you doing my stuff, I'll just take care of all your stuff.
No, they didn't have nothing like that in Georgia. But
no, I'm thinking like when you were in New York or some shit, it sounded like y'all was living on the land, but y'all was like living on the land situation.
Well,
right? And
they had
just enough
camps.
to
like the farm camps in California, where like the Latinos.
Oh, with the grape farmers and stuff.
The farmers, the lettuce, that
strawberries.
Yeah, they always had a farm. They always had a place for the people to stay.
Gotcha.
I mean, you wasn't obligated to stay there.
Correct. It was a job.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a job. Yeah, it was a job. A lousy job.
Yeah, the pay was just.
Oh man.
Yeah, so you kind of get stuck in it. Kind of
like what it was, piecework.
Piecework.
Now, some people could do it. They had been doing it all their life. They could make enough money. They can make a lot more.
Oh, so it's based on what you picked.
Yeah.
What you made.
So if you did a whole lot, you weigh it.
I think, you pick a lime bean like 50 cents a basket. If you wasn't no good, it might take you all day to pick a basket. But that was, some people could pick 2 or 3 baskets an hour. We had never done it before. But all those people, they had been doing it all their life. They had families. It was families there that had been. They didn't know nothing else. In fact, they made a documentary about that.
What was their ethnicity? Most of the people who were there.
Black. Most of black. In fact, I ain't seen nothing but black. Come to think of it.
You were 18?
Yeah.
So it was in 58.
No, that was in 59. That was the next year. I was. We was up there, and so we was in New York, and then we were from New York to Pennsylvania. From there, we went to Virginia. They were picking up potatoes in Virginia. I picked me and my cousin were working at that packing house.
It was Joe and Ed.
Joe.
Yeah, and Ed.
Yeah, Ed was still picking up potatoes. But anyway, we eventually, I mean, we was there about 2 weeks. Then we hitchhiked to Miami. Me, Joe, and Eddie hitchhiked to Miami. We left. Then we went back to Miami.
What kind of student would you say you were?
Well, I was just an average student.
You are, yeah.
I was just an average student.
And when you say you were an average student,
I was an A student. I never made the honor roll and dean chancellor list and nothing like that.
And this is when you were in grade school.
What kind of student I was in as a kid?
Overall, yeah, at different times, you know, the transition.
Well, I was smart as a kid. I was smart. As I got old, I realized that wasn't a good idea to be so smart. So I started suppressing it, you know.
Why?
Well, my friend would get mad with me, Joe and Ira, you know, because then I pretended like I didn't know. Then I became the class clown.
Why? Why would you suppress it?
Why did they get mad?
Well, they were dumb. I was smart. They couldn't understand stuff that I could understand.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I started reading when I was 4. Yeah. They was in the 7th grade and couldn't read. I had been doing it all my life.
And so because you didn't like them getting mad at you.
Yeah, we were friends. You know, I didn't want to be like
isolated.
Well, see, the thing this is where it is in school and when I was going to school. You had the smart kids, and then you had the not so smart kids. Now all the smart kids
you went to school with mostly black people though, right?
All black. The most smart kids would come to school dressed nice, and they would, you know, talk nice to the teacher, and you know, they were good kids, you know. But my friend was the bad kid. Joe and Ira, and cousins, you know, and Eddie and Charlie, you know, they was all bad kids.
Yeah.
But I was one of the smart. And but I was a smart bad kid.
So socially, you were like with the homies. You were the bad kid, but academically and intellectually, you were smart.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But I kind of suppressed that, you know. So I was a class clown, you know,
to maintain your social.
Yeah.
So when did you stop suppressing your intelligence?
When I got away from around my friends.
Which was when?
Well,
when you started going to
as soon as I got here, as soon as I came to California. Well, actually, when I left home, like when I was in Jacksonville, and then from Jacksonville, I lived in Tampa. I was always reading then. I was reading, and then when I went to Orlando with them, I didn't never read. The whole time I was in Orlando, I never read.
Wow. Socially, it was
and in New York and all that. But once I cut them loose, I went right back to reading again.
Wow.
And
so what kind of student were you when you were at Trade Tech in Cal State LA? Would you say you were?
They thought I was a genius. Because I studied, because that's what I love to do, and I always had the shit down, you know, and I always had it down, you know, and I would insist on getting it, you know, like I didn't give a shit where the teacher was. He could be in chapter 10, I was still back there. If I didn't know chapter 3, I was still back there trying to understand chapter 3. Wow. I wanted to know it. I didn't give a shit about grades and none of that stuff. That didn't mean nothing to me.
That's amazing.
I never even seen my report card or whatever you're talking about. Transcript. I never even saw those. Even when I transferred, I didn't even. I just didn't care about that. Yeah, I just wanted to learn.
That is awesome. That is so fucking awesome.
See, what happened is
that is so awesome.
But see, what happened is that I started school in January. January 1970.
30 years old. Oh, you was 29 training that year.
Yeah, and in June, some people asked me, it was some people, they were like, it was a guy, he was like in his 60s, he was like an old man to me, you know. And he had asked me, could I help him? Because he saw I was understanding, it was economic. Econ 101. He asked me, could I help him?
Being a community college had people of all ages.
Yeah. He asked me, could I help him? I said, yeah. Then I started helping him. Then he liked it, and he got his girlfriend, and the helping, and you know, like, so that whole summer.
Wow.
And then that next semester, I liked it. And this one guy was working in the physics lab. He had got into it with the head of the physics department. He had gave me his job working in the physics lab. And I started tutoring the students in the physics lab, you know. And that's when I got hooked on tutoring, you know.
And then the nurses came along. Tell me this.
And so
why
I was going to school to be a tutor.
Tell me this. Why did you choose to go to Trade Tech anyway at the age of 29?
What do you mean? Why did I choose?
Why did you go to Trade Tech? Why did you start going to school when you came out here at 29?
Oh, well, I had been going to school all along, but I had been taking night classes.
Why? Why did you start taking night classes?
Because I wanted to learn. You know,
so when you came out here, you started to take.
I was always in learning.
Okay.
Even in high school, I wanted to learn. You know, although I was ashamed of it, I still wanted to know stuff.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
And when I got out here, and I found out that I could go to the library and stuff like that. The first year I was here, I think I spent my first year in the library downtown.
Wow.
You know,
On Hope.
Yeah, the main library.
You just found out it was there and was just
Yeah. And then the Pico library, and you know, I went to every library in LA almost. You know, I used to live in the library. I used to love it, you know. And then I went to Washington Night School.
Has a library?
Yes, on Wilshire.
First mayor of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It was on P.O. Pico.
It was on Wilshire.
P.O. to something
Yeah,
Pico.
it's on Wilshire.
Fun fact.
P.O. Pico, yeah.
Wow.
They still got his house down there.
Really?
Yeah. But
DJ McCurdy told me that.
Okay.
And then I went to like the Washington. They had the Mark Twain Library on Washington and Arlington.
And why did you go to all the libraries? Did you want to see all the libraries, or you just happened to just go?
No, well, if I couldn't find what I wanted in one, wherever I was living, I would go to the nearest library. You know, where there was the closest library, that's the one I would go to.
And so eventually, you was like, I want to go to night school because you saw something that was offered or something.
Well. Actually, I met some girls that were going.
Always comes back to the one. Always comes back to the one. What was your first night school classes? What would you?
Well, actually, my first night school classes was, my first class I took in night school was electronics.
Wow.
I don't know. Well, because my friend was into it. I had friends that was into electronics.
Huh.
You know, in fact, one of my friends committed suicide was electronic. He was an electronic technician. And most people I knew, the first people I knew that was into it, that new stuff was electronic. Electronic was big then because you had radio and TV repair.
Yeah.
And
like
all that kind of stuff.
now. Yeah.
So I went to I had a call, and this guy had asked me to go by the night school to pick somebody up. And I went, and there was some women. He went to pick up some women. And I said, oh, so this is where all the women at. I said, shit, now I don't have to buy no beer. I can talk to a woman without spending my money on it. So I got in night school. I went to Jefferson House.
Wow.
Night school.
Fascinating. You was always in LA.
And I couldn't keep up because of the math. I had a lousy math background. So I changed over to music. I started taking piano. And then I met my other friend. That's when I met my best friends, Todd and Green. They were friends. They were my best friends until they died. They both dead.
Todd, what was Todd's first name?
His name was Charles. Richard Charles, yeah. Me and Todd went a long way. We were friends. He was my best friend for years. But I met him there. Ricky Charles Todd.
And then Green, what was his full name?
James Green.
James Green.
Wow.
Well, James Green, I got out of touch with him after about 2 or 3 years, but I still see his wife. Because they became a friend of my friends. I don't think you met them. My other older friend, Wanda and Willie, they had like 18 kids.
Willie's
And they all she became, they were friends of hers too. And so I'm
mm.
still in touch. But he died about 3 or 4 years ago. But I still see her, you know, when I go to funerals, you know. Like,
I have a question that is just burning. I have to ask it. Please. How do you deal with sadness?
Sadness?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just stick it out, I guess. I read a lot. I used to, when I would get upset, I would read. I'd just get me a book and start reading.
So like channeling the energy.
Or I started doing math or something like that. But I don't really have that much sadness unless somebody close to me die, you know, something like that. Otherwise, I don't have no, I can't think of no. I've had sadness though, but I know like I've had students, you know, to die. You know, one of my students was a teenager. Wow. She was like 16 and she died. And that was really hurt me a lot, you know. And
how did you deal with it? How did you deal with it?
Well, I just kept doing what I was doing, you know, and something like that. I think the worst sadness, sometimes you don't get over nothing like that. Sometimes you don't get over it. I know when I was 22, my best friend, girlfriend, we were friends. Not lovers, you know, but we had been so tight, you know, we went to the movie together, we spent the night with each other, we did everything, and she got murdered. That was in 1963, and I haven't got over that yet. Wow. I haven't got over it, you know. I couldn't deal with it, you know. I mean, I just had to go along with it. Yeah. She had just turned 23. It was right, I think. Her birthday was in June, and she got killed in June. In fact, she was getting ready to celebrate her birthday when the guy killed her. And I never got over that. Wow. I mean, you can't deal with it, you know. I mean, do it how you know. I mean, it was another guy that was in love with her. When he found out about it, he killed himself. But I found a better way of dealing with it than that. You know, he killed himself because she had got killed. Wow. You know, but I would never do nothing like that. You know, but for dealing with it, you just have to. I don't know, just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. That's all you can do, you know.
And what was your?
I don't drink or nothing like that or get drunk, because that just make it worse. You know?
What was your highest education reached? Highest education level?
Master.
You got a master's degree in what?
Man.
Oh, snap!
From
where?
Yeah.
From where?
Kent State, LA.
Really?
Wow.
I always thought it was just a bachelor's.
Yeah, well, I went back. I continued that.
Huh. How did you pay for your master's degree?
I was touring. I had my own business by then, touring business.
That is.
Huh.
I had 800 students at one time.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. By yourself?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Well, not that, they wasn't all that together, but my list, you know, you know, some I did once a week, some I did for tests, stuff like that. But in all, my whole, that was before you were born.
So I remember you finished.
That when me and Joanne got married.
Wow. Because you finished your bachelor's. I remember you finished your bachelor's in 1980. And then you started your master's program in what year? Do you remember?
85.
That's when I was born. Oh.
That's when me and Joanne broke up. So I didn't have nothing else to do. So.
Now I recall when mommy, you were working with mommy, and so when you were with mommy, she was like help the structure and facilitate the whole help your tutoring situation. I remember you said that's when you were thriving the most as a tutor.
Yeah.
Independently.
Yeah, that's when I had to send over on Adams. And
she brought the structure.
That's
Adams.
amazing.
That's synergy, man.
That's amazing.
And Oh, pivot a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Pops, what are your spiritual beliefs?
I don't have any.
Elaborate.
Well, I'm not religious. I've never
Spiritual.
been.
Like spiritually. Like what do you believe spiritually?
Well, I don't know. I'm in the science, I never was into. I don't have nothing against. I don't know about spiritual. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't discuss politics and religion, but I'm not a religious person. I've never been. Even when I was a kid.
So spiritually, you don't think there's any value. What do you believe about?
Well, I'm
prayer?
sure it's.
What are your beliefs? Like, what do you believe about prayer? About God?
I never pray.
What are your spiritual?
That's what I'm saying. I'm an atheist.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I never.
Why would you say that you are an atheist? Like, what do you believe about atheism, and why do you say that that is you? Like,
well, the thing is, people. Well, I would say, if I wasn't an atheist, I would believe that the universe was created by God.
Sure.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
I don't believe it came about that way.
Sure.
I think that religion is an explanation. It's an explanation that most people can understand.
Sure.
But if you're looking from the scientific point of view, most of those explanations, they don't coincide. There's no such thing as a coincide. Religion and science coincide together. It's not. They don't happen. I don't have nothing against it. I'm all for religion. I'm 100% for religion. I love it when people go to church.
Why? What do you love?
Because it helps them. Because you standing out there saying, it ain't no God, ain't nobody up there watching over me, and when I die, I'm just gonna rot away forever. That's just hard to take. You got to be half crazy to not let that bother you. So it's a lot better. I don't say easier to believe that somebody watching you, keeping you morally from doing all the kind of bad shit. And when you die, you're going to heaven, and you're gonna be looking down on your relative. It's easy to believe. I just can't. I can't accept that. But I'm glad other people do. And I've seen religion help a lot of people. I think for one person, Betty, for instance. I'm so glad she became religious. I'm so glad she got that way.
She became that way after you guys got together.
I was a bad influence.
So she wasn't always that way.
She left me.
Oh, really? So when you knew her,
she found Jesus.
Yeah. That was the best thing she could have did for herself. I was atheist then. I didn't believe in, she'd be wanting to go to church. I said, go on. I don't, go ahead. But see, she had a drinking problem. Don't tell you that.
Okay.
She had a drinking problem.
Now. Oh, yeah, this is our recording. Oh, good.
Anyway, she joined the church.
Yeah. So she had a drinking problem.
Yeah, she had a drinking problem.
Gotcha.
And I think she was about 30, 31, 30. Now she's 82 now.
Gotcha.
She haven't touched a cigarette or a drop of alcohol since the day she stepped in the church.
Wow.
And she's the most religious person I know.
Wow.
And
that's why
when it comes to her, thank God for religion.
Yeah.
She couldn't handle the alcohol stuff. She probably don't want nobody to know it. But she couldn't handle that. But it was really messing her up. But once she got in the church, in fact, it killed her sister. Her sister was alcoholic. She died of cirrhosis and all that kind of stuff. But I'm so glad.
Is Betty from Los Angeles?
No, Betty was born in North Carolina.
I didn't know that.
Asheville.
Oh, shit.
And I'm so glad that she got into it. And I've seen a lot of other people. A lot of people.
Where religion improved their life.
I've seen people out in the street, women, crackheads out in the street. Next time I saw them, I couldn't believe it was them. I saw some that came back, they were ministers. Stuff like that. I mean, it helped. That was a very positive function in for religion. But I just think of different.
Your belief is like
I just think
bullshit.
No, it's not bullshit. I mean,
okay. I wanted to come. That's why I think it's important to record it, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, but let's say, for instance, the first time I saw a car when I was a kid, I didn't know why that car was running. You know. Now, if my father had said, "Well, it's a little man under there running it," I would have believed him. You know, I wouldn't have never checked the motor out. You know, I wouldn't know there was a motor there, nothing like that. I'm just going by what he said. Yeah. Basically, that's what most of religion is somebody tell you something, and that's what you accept. But see, I was a hard-headed kid. I wouldn't accept it.
It's a lot of critical thinking.
Yeah. I wouldn't accept it. You know, a lot of things they told me about religion, I just didn't. I want to know how did that happen
as a child.
Yeah, and if you can tell me how it happened, then it didn't happen. You know,
that is your problem.
Yeah, you know, I was the same way as a child.
And
I was like, so every animal was on this motherfucker.
Yeah. Both polar bears, and lions, and gorillas.
That's exactly some kangaroos from Australia, and then like koalas from China, with panda bears and all.
On this one little boat.
Look out of here! Come on, ain't no way in hell a goddamn lion and a zebra is gonna just be peacefully in it. Come on.
And I question a lot of stuff, everything. I question everything.
Since childhood.
Yeah, everything that they, even when I was in Sunday school, they tell me stuff. Jesus walked on the water. How? I don't know how. I mean, he's not they got them Jesus books, on the water, and stuff like that.
Right.
But Moses parted the Red Sea and all of that. I mean, I just couldn't I couldn't just accept it. I couldn't just accept it, you know. But I mean, that was horrible to some people, the fact that I didn't accept it. That was the time I would have been burned at the stake, for not accepting.
Now tell me this: when you were
balling all.
So before you were 17 and left, did you talk to Mary Stewart and Anderson Stewart about your religious, your spiritual beliefs?
Shit, the nigga would kill me.
So you believed it, but you never
I knew
shared
better
it.
I knew better to mention that stuff than him.
Wow.
Oh, well, I mean, I would ask them questions, then their answer wasn't satisfactory. I would ask, my grandma, where did the sun go when it go down? Oh, it go under the ground and come back up. I said, under the ground? What's holding the ground? Why? And one night, I was looking at the moon one night. I had went outside to get something. I was looking at the moon, and I said, wait a minute, I saw the moon today. And it wasn't shining. How come it was shining now? I didn't know. That was a puzzle. It was just sitting there.
It was like 15, 14.
About 14, 15. And it was shining. And I went back in the house. I was saying, okay, the moon shine at night, but it don't shine in the daytime. I said, what about the sun? Does it still be shining at night? And I went back in the house and I made the mistake of asking that question. Does the sun shine at night? They were about to put me in the nut house for asking that question. And as it turned out, it does. That's what the moon is. It's the sun. But as I got older, I started taking science. And I noticed that the answers I was getting from the science book were different from the answers they were giving me.
Yeah.
And I was saying they make more sense, And cause I think if the earth is sitting on something, it's flat and sitting on something, what is that sitting on? It got to stop somewhere. And I come to find out it wasn't sitting on nothing. That made more sense to me. It just falling through the air, So that made more sense to me. Then as I got older and older, I started we couldn't go to the city library, but we would go to
because you were Black?
Yeah. So we go to school library. When I got in high school, we had school library.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading books.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading the book, and I started seeing stuff like Neanderthal men and Croagnon and Australopithecus and stuff like that. I said, wait a minute.
Adam and Eve.
I didn't see, I never seen none of these people.
And the Bible.
Now the average person would say they didn't see it in the Bible, so it didn't exist.
Oh.
So I was saying, I didn't take that idea. I said, I didn't see it in the Bible, but it's something wrong. Something ain't right.
It's not natural.
Somebody, you know. And then when they start talking about the age of the earth, they said, oh yeah, these people lived 1 million years ago, 100,000 years ago. And then the Bible was saying that the earth was created 6,000 years ago. I said, wait a minute, we ain't on the same page. You know, so I just said, well, you know, religion is good. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad people have it. I wish everybody go, you know, but I can't, I'm sorry. You know, I just, you know,
I love you.
You know, y'all can throw me out of your house or whatever you want to do.
I love it.
I just don't know.
So you never thought to like study or wondered about the psychology or the.
I know it's psychology. I wanted to be religious. I wanted to be religious.
When?
Well, when I would join, I would go to church and everything, you know, but I just, you know, and I would even pray and I tried to pray and all that. I tried to be religious. I just couldn't. It just wouldn't fit.
Fascinating. What about
you know, for years I wouldn't tell nobody I wasn't.
Now what about like the Eastern religions and like Buddhism, meditation and all that stuff?
Well, see, the thing of it is, our religion started out the same way. You know, you have all religion is just man trying to figure out where in the hell he came from and what's he doing here. You know, that's the whole thing. You know, so it's just people have different approaches from doing it. You know, the Egyptians, you know, they had their Isis and auras and the cats and all that kind of stuff, and then you had the Mithraism, and you have the Buddhists, you know, and all of them. They all had their and they all had their way of trying to explain things. Like if you go back to philosophy, back to Thales and Empedocles and all those people, the ancient Greek philosophers, they tried to figure it out too, but they took a different approach. You know, right? Yeah, they didn't. I mean, in other words, they saying, why does the Nile River flow every year? Well, the prevailing belief was that God was doing that so people could have crops and stuff like that. Thales and all of them, they took it a different way. They said, it must be another reason. So they followed the river, and they saw that what happened was the snow melt up in Armenia somewhere. The snow would melt every year, and that's what was causing the flood. You know, so they took a different approach. You know, I know they used to have that commercial where this little girl asked her, "Daddy, why is the sky blue?" And the guy said, "Well, God made the sky blue so it would match your pretty eye." And she said, "No, I don't. It's because of the light getting the molecules in the atmosphere." You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you got two ways you can look at stuff. You know, and I just happen to look at it a way most people don't. You know, like, I mean, to me, earthquake is not a warning from God. Tectonic plates moving against each other. You know, hurricanes are not a way of God telling us that me and our evil ways because of the temperature and pressure differences in the atmosphere. You know, so, you know, I just look at things a different way. You know, so.
Tell me this.
And that's why I don't want no funeral. I don't know about sitting over there come out with a great Christian.
So this is the we can go ahead and share this then.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a funeral.
No, I don't want no funeral.
Amen.
Like, I don't want this stuff to happen to me like it.
That happened.
My
Yeah,
police-
I remember.
Oh,
Yeah. You like you turn over in her grave.
oh, don't let Jenny go to sleep.
No, hey.
But anyway,
no.
but-
Hey,
no,
yeah,
but-
that's right. That's right.
I mean, what
That
I'm
was mine.
saying, you know, like you go, people say, oh, that he was such a great person. The most honestest funeral I ever went to was your grandmother's. Because nobody exaggerated. You know?
They want to say something.
I said, this is the most honest funeral I ever been to in my life.
So wonderful. That is wonderful.
What do you want?
Mhm.
What do you want?
Well, if y'all want to have a memorial to laugh about my stupid shit, you know, it's okay with me.
Like Captain Fantastic.
But as far as spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to have me laying up, what? I'm just gonna ride away. You can just gonna throw me in the oven and get it over with. Why wait 100 years for the same thing now? You know, you're gonna get cremated in the grave, but it's just gonna take a long time. So why waste all that time? Just go on and do it now. You know, throw the ashes, but not down the toilet. You could spread them out to sea or something like that. You know?
Why do you do that? You know, eventually they're gonna get there. You know?
Yeah, they're gonna get there anyway. They're just taking the long way, but I don't like the company I've been keeping.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, that is awesome. Let's pivot a bit. And let's talk about the other sacred taboo, politics. What are your it's 15 minutes to 11. Fun fact. So what are your political
I'm a liberal.
beliefs?
I'm a
What is your
Democratic
understanding?
liberal.
What is your understanding of Democrats and liberals, and why do you say that that's what you believe as well? Why would you label yourself? as a
Well,
Democrat and
it
liberal?
doesn't. Well, I could say independent, but I'm not independent.
Okay.
It's just, well, see, actually, when it comes to conservative and liberal, there's not nothing new. We just hearing about it. It's been around for a long time.
Sure.
You know, even in ancient Greece and stuff.
Sure.
You always had conservative and liberals.
Mhm.
And
Constrained and unconstrained views.
yeah. Well, conservative want to keep things like it is. No, liberal mostly progressive. They want things to change. You know, and I'm for change.
That was
Why would
very
you-
simply
Yeah.
and succinctly
Clean.
put.
Why would you say Democrat? Why would you say label yourself as a Democrat?
Well, the Democrats are mostly the liberal. You're not too many Republican conservative. I don't know. I've met some. Well, actually, progressive. Teddy Roosevelt was progressive. Republican, but he was progressive too. And but well, the thing I think is because it's always been the case, not just in the United States.
Sure.
When the people in control, they got their stuff, they got their money, they got their land, they want to keep it like that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But you know, if you out there hungry and starving, you want things to change. You know, so you're gonna try to make things.
Yeah, and you put yourself involved.
Yeah. But even in the Roman Empire, you know, you had these senators and stuff like that. They owned all the land, and you couldn't be a Roman soldier unless you own land. Then they sent them away for 30 or 40 years. And by the time they got back, they done took the land away from them. You know, you even some of the, you go back all the way to Herodotus and stuff like that. Some of the people that they write about, Coriolanus and stuff like that, you find out that they were having the same argument.
Just human beings trying to work together. What is your beliefs and understanding and sentiment regarding Black Lives Matter?
I think it's the most beautiful thing since the Civil Rights Movement.
Elaborate.
Yeah. Well, if you just sit around and let the police kill you and you don't say nothing about it, I mean, what do you expect? Ain't nothing gonna change. You know, they're gonna still do it. And there's a lot of blacks been killed unjustifiably. You know, you coming out of your garage with a say-up on, somebody gonna shoot you 50 times, you know, that don't make no sense. You know, and then you're gonna turn around and kill a black man on TV in front of the whole world, and nobody gonna say nothing about it. That's bullshit. You know, so that's what the Black Lives Matter is. I mean, Breonna Taylor and all of these people, you know, well, they might have, you know, the guy did shoot through the door, but what I'm saying, the police excessive force it's not necessary. I mean, to me, if somebody walking up on me with a knife, I'm not gonna shoot him through the head 50 times. I'll shoot him in the foot. You know, if I've been out there on the range every day training, I should at least be able to hit a person's leg. If you can't shoot no better than that, you don't need to be on the police force. No way. You got to shoot a guy in the chest 50 times. Just because he got a say-up on, or he got something that looked like a gun, that's too much force. You know, a guy running down the street in Atlanta, shot in the back, because he was use the bathroom in a breaking house, you know, or stuff like that. That gotta stop. You can't just sit back and let that stuff happen to you, because it'll get just like it was when I was a kid. It'll go right back, make America great again. You know, when I was a kid, anything could happen to you, and nothing was done about it. You know, a little kid ran out in front of my cousin's car. He got 2 years in prison for attempted manslaughter. Another one of my cousins, a white guy pulled a gun on him. He put his hand in his pocket. He got 2 years for attempted murder. And the guy was standing there with a gun on him. You know, we getting back to that. And if nobody don't say nothing about it, that's where we gonna be. You know, so you sit around talking about it's gonna get better. That's shit. It's not gonna get until you do something. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Georgia. You
Tell
know,
me this: when they
now y'all asked me about what my parents and you didn't ask me about them white folks I had to deal with. You know, that was my problem growing up.
Let's pivot and talk about that. Like, tell me about some of your.
Well, I grew up with some shit white folks. Well, it might have been some people.
Just generally, like without a formal question, just tell us about some of it. What was it like?
Well,
in Georgia.
Well, first of all, you stayed as far away from white people as you could. First and foremost, you know, you only saw them when you went to the store, you know, or stuff like that. But even then, you had to take stuff that shit. You know, boy, what you looking at them comic books? You know, you can't read. You know, that kind of shit. You know, I'm trying to find a comic book, you know. Well, they ain't got no pictures. You know, those books don't have no pictures in it. You know, these just white guys sitting around, you know, stuff like that. You know? Just little stuff like that.
It's like poking at you, picking at you.
Yeah, it's commonplace. Yeah. And I remember we was working at a recreation center. My cousin Joe went drunk out of a fountain, all white only. And he got jumped on by a white guy. My cousin about 14, this guy was about 20. And they got into a fight because my cousin was drinking. You know, and like in this recreation, they had a swimming pool there. We could only swim in the swimming pool on Monday. That was when they were letting the water out that the white people had been swimming in every day. And one day, some white people came there after they had filled the pool up. And they saw some black kids was still in there. And they raised somebody here, they had to redrain the pool. You know, yet they expected the black kids to swim in the pool after a week of them in there. You know, what kind of insult is that? You know, library, I never stepped foot into a library until I got here, public library. We couldn't go to the library, you know. Even in the lake,
like a universal God-made lake.
We couldn't swim on the same side that the white people were swimming on. We had to swim on the opposite side of the lake. We couldn't swim on the side with the white people.
What did this do for you and your sentiment towards white people, like as an adult? Like, do you think because of the times and change and years that's passed, do you think you have like a deep-seated sentiment, maybe unconsciously, like with white people, or consciously even with white people, just in general?
Well, see, I think everybody got some unconscious stuff.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is that people, well, I don't know. People would treat you like that anyway if they could get away with it. Yeah, people would treat you shitty anyway, if they get away. Some people, they had it, just like some people go out and kill people.
Yeah.
Everybody don't have that tendency.
Whoever.
Yeah, everybody don't have that tendency. But there are people that have a tendency to mistreat you. But when it's institutionalized in the South, it's institutionalized. So I've always been aware that the white people I meet in LA just capable of doing what the one were doing out there in Georgia. Yeah. But they can't. The law won't let them, and the people ain't gonna stand for it, Yeah. But in the situation that we was in, if you did something about it, you might have you could probably get killed or something like that.
And the law will be on.
Oh yeah. Side. No, the law wasn't on your side. They accept it. A lot of black people accept that. They accepted that. That's just the way things was. That one reason I left.
Did you find yourself like not accepting that the same way you wouldn't accept like the understanding of like questions and religion?
No, I wasn't ready to get my head shot off. Nah, I mean, I was no fool. No, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I knew, I knew I was gonna get away from there as soon as I could. If I could just hold out.
That was some of the reasons why you left.
Yeah. If I could hold out long enough, I was gonna get away. But no, I didn't like it at all. Yeah. I ain't accept none of it. And
wow, even as a child.
Yeah, you gonna sit your ass up in church, every Sunday, and then come out there and do people like that. No, I didn't accept that.
Wow, stuff. So you saw like the irony and the hypocrisy as a child, like that makes no damn sense.
Yeah. And I know like then the Emmett Till thing happened when I was about 14.
He was around his age.
Yeah, I was his age. I was his age. I said, you gonna do that to somebody just for whistling at a white woman? My God. I wasn't gonna whistle at no white woman, what I'm saying?
You heard a couple of years ago he didn't do it. Like she came out and admitted that she was lying.
She probably was. They did that all the time. They did that shit anyway. I had some more cousins that did you ever meet my cousin at Big Junior? He had one on.
Oh no. I think I heard his name before. Yeah.
He had an older brother. I never met him. Him and two more of his friends went to prison for rape. And he got out. I never met him. He got out when I left. After I left home. He got out. And then later, the reason he got out, because on the deathbed, the woman said she thought she was pregnant. And she put it on them. So she could get an abortion.
How long was he in prison?
About 20 years. Because that was her boyfriend. Her boyfriend had got her pregnant, and she pretended she had got raped by 3 black guys, so that her mama could get her an abortion. And they did all that time. Just on her word.
On just her word.
Yeah, and then I have another friend. His name was.
What was his name? What's his name? Do you remember his name?
I never didn't know his name. Cause Big Junior, his name was Ernest. That was Ernest. I think his name was Willie Ed. I think.
Okay. Was he a whitehead?
No, Stewart. That was on my grandfather's side.
Okay. And he was in prison in Georgia. He went to prison in Georgia.
Yeah,
for 20 years.
At least 20.
Do you know which facility he was at?
No. I never met him. I don't know. What did they have down there? They what they call chain gang, I know another one of my friend named Edward James. He had his father couldn't hear. His father was deaf. And he was cutting some trees down And he was getting near to these people's property.
I think you had told me the story before.
And the lady would tell him not to cut his trees down. And he couldn't hear her, and he was just looking at her smiling. And she had him committed to an insane asylum.
She saw him communicating with her, so you saw like, hey.
He cutting his own trees down.
And I met him. No, it was her tree. It was on his property. He was cutting the tree down for somebody else. He was on her property.
Got it.
But she was telling him not to cut down her tree, but he didn't know. He couldn't hear her. He couldn't hear. And he kept cutting the tree, and he was just smiling. You know, he thought she was just talking to him. You know, he just standing. But she had him committed to an insane asylum. And he got out about a year before I left home.
Wow.
She had the authority and power to commit a stranger.
Yeah. To the nut house. He spent in
what was he married? Did his wife or
I told you one of his sons was my best friend. He had a son named Edward James. We used to call him Tut. He had another son named Dick.
Was he married? Did he have siblings? I mean, what the fuck?
That was his kids.
I know, but I mean, like, how could a stranger like just commit another stranger?
Well, everybody knew everybody. She knew him, but she probably didn't know he couldn't hear. But he had a wife. His name was Alberta.
Wow.
And in fact, his mother was named James.
Just like your grandmother.
Yeah. His mother was named James. And then he had a daughter. She had a daughter. He had a daughter named Dinah. Yeah, I saw him.
And they were. I'm sure they were like protesting, saying like, "No, stop, don't."
You didn't do that in Georgia. No, you didn't do that in Georgia. Did you see the thing about Emmett Till when they came together? They didn't say nothing. they didn't barely say anything. You know, you go into somebody's house now and try to get their kid. I don't care what color they is. You try to get their kid, see what's gonna happen. They'd be all over your ass. But they didn't do nothing, and they knew they were gonna kill that guy. Look at that documentary. You know, they didn't, you know, I said, how can you just sit there? You know, but you subjected. Scared, fear.
Because you think it's gonna happen to you, yeah.
Just fear.
Yeah.
A lot of fear, you know. You controlled by fear of what might happen to you and what would happen to you and what happened to a lot of people. You know?
So today, it's a perfect segue. Today, there's a lot of large corporations creating these programs called DEI. It's an acronym for diversity, equity, like social equity, and inclusion and inclusivity.
Yeah.
And they having these like creating these like positions in companies like at Apple and Amazon, like large Microsoft and shit. You know what I mean? Big companies, Oracle, whatever. And they're creating these positions for minorities, specifically African American people. And they're taking a step forward to having diversity, equity, and inclusion in the C-suite.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this movement that's happening now?
I think it's a good idea. Because it's just the opposite of what I grew up with, believe me. It wasn't nothing about diversity and inclusion. It was just that you was a shit, you're a nigga, you ignorant, you know, all you know what to do is dance, you shiftless, you're lazy, you know, no, that's different. It's different now, you know, it might not work, but it's a lot better than what I grew up with. Because when I grew up with something, it wasn't about nothing, you know.
And you said it might not work.
I don't know, you know, you don't never know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying president. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not saying it. Hopefully it worked. You know, I don't see no reason why it shouldn't. They've tried a lot of things, been tried over the years.
Yeah, I hear you.
Even signing the civil rights bill, really, it wasn't perfect. Because
you were in your 20s when that happened, right? In the 60s. Yeah.
Wow.
I was looking at it. Yeah.
Wow.
In some white people's house.
I asked this question because you were in your 20s during like the civil rights movement and stuff. Did you ever go out there and march or do some shit like that? Why not?
I don't know. It was mostly in the South. I wasn't here. I mean, I did in marches. I joined marches here.
Did you?
Vietnam protesters and all that stuff. You know? Yeah, I got out there when I saw people marching. I jumped in there with them. Yeah.
Why was that?
I just want to be in there. You know, I wanted to go to the
Black Lives Matter.
No, I wanted to go to the civil rights, the sit in and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff was going on. Yeah. And the what was that? The Freedom Riders. The one that was that's when I saw.
So you wanted to do that?
The year I told you I saw Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was a Freedom Rally. Yeah, it was a
Wow.
Freedom Rally at the sports arena.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, and I
wow.
shook hands with Governor Brown.
Wow.
And that's when I heard Martin Luther King speak in person. And then they had all these Sammy Davis Jr., George Shearing, and they had all these musicians there, And so that was a freedom ride.
So you were like involved a bit.
Yeah, I went to the rallies, when they had stuff here. I went, but I never got a chance to. I didn't really get a chance to go to voter registration, the freedom ride, and stuff like that. And
but you wanted to.
Oh yeah. And my people don't get involved with them civil rights people. I said,
just like now, the Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah. They tell me don't get involved, stay away from that. Even some of my friends, why you going to them freedom rally? I said, shit, if you went through anything I can do to hurt them white folk down there in the South, I'm ready.
Tell me this, did you want, I know it was like, you're at a susceptible age during this pandemic and stuff. How did you feel about the Black Lives Matter protest? Did you want to protest?
No, I didn't want to protest, but I was glad to see them out there doing it.
That's beautiful.
I never had a desire to get out there. It happened so quick in LA. It was first it was in
all over the world.
Yeah. But I just I was too scared of the pandemic. I was too scared of COVID. I didn't want to get out there. People out there with no masks and all, it was important stuff like that. But I guess I was just selfish about my own life.
It was beautiful to see that.
Yeah, but I was glad to see it. I looked at all of them. I kept up with it and everything. I thought it was the most beautiful thing happening in years.
That is so cool to hear.
Wonderful, yeah.
That's so cool to hear that. How do you feel about Black Republicans?
Well, it's okay. The thing is this. If it wasn't for a Republican, we would have never got into politics in the first place. Lincoln was a Republican. That's who brought the Black people into American political life was the Republicans.
Some of the first Black American politicians.
All of them.
Okay.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of your senators and all of them were Republican. Democrats were white rednecks.
Right.
The Democrats back then, the Democrats were the people that invaded the White House on the 6th.
Correct.
Those Democrats back then.
Right.
But it changed over.
Yeah.
That happened. That happened too in North Carolina. I can't think of the name of that place.
I didn't know that. Oh, I think we saw the documentary.
Remember? I think it was 1889.
Remember we were saying they were being suppressed in the Carolinas and stuff, and they were like being helped. Maybe I was watching that by myself. But it was this city in North Carolina where everybody was Black politicians. They were like, we can't have this shit. They kind of started to control the media narrative and got all these Black people kicked out.
There was an insurrection. They actually did what they did on the 6th of January. They went in there and they threw them
Black
out.
politicians.
Right. And during that time, you had 16. And during that time, you had 16 Black people in politics.
It was called like Green something.
I can't think of the name of that place.
1889?
Yeah. It was like for the 1900s. They controlled the media.
It was actually insurrection. That insurrection.
And they're trying to like hide it and stuff, but some people still have it. A church has like whatever, like calling Black people, like we got to stop this shit. And it was a successful situation. And
they overthrew it. They did exactly what Trump tried to do on the city.
It was like,
but they were successful.
It's creepy. And then people
died. Then what they did what happened by that time, the Republican Party had been, it went from the Republican Party was the rich party, and the Democratic Party was the poor party. That's what had by during that time. By 1890, the last Black person in Congress left. But you had governors before that, Pitchblende, and Black people. But what happened is, what happened is by the 1890s, you know, when you got the railroads, you had the big tycoons and stuff like that, money. So the Republican Party became a money party. And the farmers and the poor people and that stuff like that, they all went into the Democratic Party.
Oh, I see.
But if you look back, some of your, I think W.B.D. Du Bois was Republican.
I'd imagine. Yeah. But today, how do you feel about Black Republicans today?
Well, if you want to stick to your tradition, that's you. I mean, they got a right. I mean, you got rich Black people. I mean, it's a rich party. It's for the Black people. I mean, hell, you for the people that saving you tax. I don't give a damn what color you are. You know, I mean, if I was rich, I probably would be a Republican. You know, I mean, that's your advantage. You want the party up there to help you. You know, I mean, what the Kanye West need with a SSI check, you know, or COVID relief check. He don't need it. You know what I'm saying? You don't need it.
You're a sound human being, Dad. You're a sound human being.
What do you mean?
Because I don't know. It makes sense. Because we interviewed Mommy, and Mommy got old school beliefs. She's an awesome woman. I can't wait to just talk to so many other people because this is fascinating to hear your sentiment. Like, that's dope.
That's great.
Yeah, it's dope. You're truly an intellectual. Like, you don't. I don't know. It's not hostile when somebody challenges your beliefs and stuff. It's like it's all good. They can, do their thing. It's like you have a respect for individual beliefs. You're not imperialistic. That's fascinating.
Thank you.
That's so dope.
Thank you.
What is your sentiment? What is your sentiment? What is your sentiment about Trump?
Very good. That when a guy asked me when Trump first got elected, he said, hey man, what do you think about Trump? I said, I try not to. That nigga quit. He's my best student. He quit.
That's so funny.
Yeah. For a long time I wouldn't talk about Trump because sometimes I would lose my students.
Wow. I see what you're
I don't think Trump's a businessman. Trump didn't have no business being a president, as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
He is a very good businessman, very successful businessman. But he don't have his sentiment ain't toward being a politician. He got to be in order to be a politician, lead a president, you got to be for the Blacks, the poor, the you know what I'm saying, the rich, the poor, the Blacks, the Mexican. You got to have something for everybody. You can't just go in there and serve the rednecks and the white supremacists, or just serve the people that serve you. That's what business people do. He's a businessman. If you don't like me, you out the door. That's what business people do. Yeah. You disagree with me, you gone. That's business. He's a businessman. Politician.
That is a great interpretation and perspective.
Such a fresh mind. Fresh ideas. Wow. Where do you believe?
What's your sentiment?
Well, I share a sentiment with you. Like, it's.
But a lot of people would say like, he committed. He created job. He was supposed to. He's a businessman. He know all about that.
Let's talk off screen. Let's talk off screen because I do want to get this. I know you got that 12 o'clock. It's 11:17. We got plenty of time. But I really want these questions recorded. I want these questions recorded. Where did your views come from? Where do you think a lot of your views, your spiritual beliefs, your political beliefs, where did they come from?
Everything I know came from books. So a lot of people say book learning ain't nothing and all that. I don't have that sentiment. Everything I know came from the books. God bless books.
We gotta have you here and watch Captain Fantastic.
I would love to see your reaction.
Yeah.
Make time for that.
We have to.
I love that.
I mean, you can get ideas from other places, but where? The street. If anybody in the street got an idea, what are they gonna do? Put them in a book. So a book, all the ideas it's in the book. If you out there in the street at the barber shop or the coffee shop, you got something to say, you know how to say it, you put it in a book. Like they used to say, you want to hire something from a Black person, put it in a book.
Not this Black person.
black person.
And not this black
Not these
person.
I love this. All right, this is the final question, and
Yes.
this is the final formal question, and we got time, so we'll ask others if they come. But this is a special question. What will your family inherit from you?
Well, money-wise, nothing financially.
Okay.
But I don't know what they would inherit from me, but what I hope I hope my kids and grandkids, all of them, my love of knowledge, want to know, curiosity, I mean, I know I didn't do a whole lot with mine, but
Sure.
I want my kids to learn as much as they could, get all you can to have it. Because I think a lot of people, they get educated for the wrong reason. I know because I've been in it for so long. You don't go to school to get an education to get a good job, get a good pressure, get a good position. You get an education so you can live intelligently. You got to live like an intelligent. You can live two ways. You can be ignorant or you can be intelligent. The whole idea of an education is to be able to live intelligently. And that's what I want my kids to get from me. Get the education, then worry about what you're going to do with it. Get it. It's there. It'll help you. It's the best thing can happen to you. Get it. Now, if you happen to be born with talent, like, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson,
Robin Williams.
Yeah, Robin Williams, you could kind of skip that, it's there, But we ain't all born with that,
You all can't be Art Tatum.
No, we not all Count Bases and Duke Ellingtons and Ray Charles, So on the whole, the best thing you can do is to get an education. And that's the first thing I started doing when I left home. Educating myself.
Your education started when you dropped out.
When I dropped out of high school, yeah.
So what is education? What is education? How will you define
Well, it's knowledge. Education is knowing how to do stuff, knowing things, understanding things, understanding the world, understand politics, understand how politics got here, understand religion, understand where it came from, why you have different religions, why people kill each other about it, stuff like that. Try to understand, educate. Only way you're gonna understand all the stuff going on around you is by education, even global warming, stuff like that. You can't understand without education. You wanna know what a hurricane, earthquake, tsunami, why did that happen? Well, then you're into the scientific thing. A lot of people have a hard time with the science, but for a long time I was into psychology. I want to know why do people think the way they do. Why do people want to go out and kill people? Or why do people do this? I was into that for a long time.
Tell me this. You earlier you said you didn't do much with it, referring to education knowledge. Why would you say that?
Well, I didn't get rich. I could have got a job. I could have got a job teaching in a college or somewhere and had a nice house and a nice car and all that stuff. But I wasn't interested in that.
Why not?
I don't know. I just let's say, I guess it's the way I am. What make you happy? What make you happy? If I have a choice of going, when I was young, if I had a choice of going out to a nice nightclub or sit home reading a good book, I would sit home and read the book. I wouldn't enjoy the nightclub just thinking about what I could be doing, reading. In fact, Yeah, I was so bad that I used to go out nightclub and take my books with me.
Oh,
You know, I have taken books to the nightclub. You know,
I actually took work to the club.
but what I'm saying is
Trying to be social.
my thing is do what make you happy, as long as it don't hurt nobody. As long as you're not depriving nobody or nothing like that. But I mean, you know, I prefer to be able to drive a car somewhere than to catch the bus.
Sure.
But I'm not in love with no car. You know, I mean, I catch the bus. You know, you know what I'm saying? I never was in love with cars. Really, I never had a car unless I had a family. All the time I was by myself, I didn't have a car. I wasn't interested. I mean, whereas some people, oh, you know, that's a nice thing to have a big pretty car. Why people go? Why? Well, some people want people to think they're rich. They doing well. That they are successful. That's what people want people to think. You know. Well, they think what they want. I think I'm already successful. You know, and what I want. You know.
What is success?
Well,
success.
I think success is doing. Well, basically, success. You set a goal. This is what I want to do. If you do it, if you're able to accomplish that, then you're successful. You know.
Earl Nightingale.
If you don't, you know, if you don't get that, then you say you was a failure because you didn't get to do what you wanted to do. But say for instance, the first time I set a goal is I want to be able to explain anything to anybody. That's my goal. You know? I want to be able to explain anything to anybody that want to know it. You know?
Oh my God!
And that's why I went to school. Yeah. And so that's why. What's wrong with that?
That is
no, nothing wrong. That is
and mighty, and I can tell I've inherited that from you. I know I've inherited that from you.
Yeah,
that's clear. That is very clear.
Wow.
Like mommy, what she said is beautiful, and I have that. You know, spending so much time with her, and I know I've inherited that from you. I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Even when I was a kid, I'd be trying to explain stuff. Remember, I was telling you, I used to ask my grandfather about the moon and all that kind of stuff, the sun and stuff like that. And then I discovered science, and I started trying to explain it to people. And my friend would get mad when I was trying to explain. And he said, what's in the clip? I said, well, the sun and the earth is between the sun and you. How do we get up there? I said, up where? You know? You know, I mean, I already had that, you know, like explaining stuff. Well, I guess that you can call it teaching or too, whatever. I always had that desire to, you know, to
that's beautiful.
Stuff.
Your definition of success is in line with one that I like. Is from Earl Nightingale. It says the progressive realization of a worthy ideal is successful.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what success is.
Yeah. Well, see, success is I think what happened with people, they get confused with success and a similar success. Being able to explain everything you want to everybody ain't gonna put a pen in your pocket. you know. But let's say you're a musician. If you're a successful musician, you're gonna have a simple success, right? Right. That being a successful musician means having pretty houses, pretty cars. You got a lot of money. People gonna pay you to do that. You know, I mean, people holler just got ask them for $15 an hour to explain physics. To nuclear physics stuff, they get mad, you know. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no money in it. But if you get out there and sing to somebody, they pay $50,000 to hear you. You know, so this is the money. You know what I'm saying? But so going out buying a new house and a new car and nice clothes, don't mean you're a success. It means you have the symbols of success. It's how you got it. How did you get that? You know, because you might have had 2 jobs, working 24 hours a day, giving yourself and ready to go postal on your job and all that kind of shit. That's not success. But you just have the symbols. You know, so having symbols of success and being successful is 2 different things. You take somebody like Kanye West, Beyonce, these are extremely talented people. People want to hear them. People willing to pay money to hear them. So of course they're gonna have the symbols of success, but it's not. They are not successful because they have the symbols of success. They are successful because they are successful at what they do.
I got you.
Fascinating. Anything else, baby?
This was incredible. Thank you. I just have to say thank you.
Tell me there's one thing specifically. Sometimes things are on like people's hearts. Sometimes certain people are on certain people are on certain people's hearts or whatever. And you know, the idea is that this is going to be
on their heart.
Sometimes a person like a mind, like some person, like you may be thinking about George, you may be thinking about I don't know, mommy or whatever, or nieces and nephews or whatever. And you know, it's March 21st, 2021 or whatever. So this is going to be watched forever, hopefully, God willing. Like if it's up to Alethea and I, like this will be lasting forever. And so if you wanted to, like, you know, talk to our unborn children, our children's children, or people you know, whatever, what is something that you just want people to know or to say, to leave them with something?
All I want
forever.
What I want people, like I've been saying all day, I want people to understand the importance of education, of knowing stuff. Because if I hadn't devoted myself to being educated, I'd probably be in a tent under the freeway, dead. You know. But everything I did accomplished. You know. I think it had to do with me learning. You know, that I guess in a sense, somebody told me I was a philosopher because I love knowledge. That was philosophy to me, the love of knowledge. You know, to me, that's the most important thing, to know stuff. To you know, and then somebody might say, well, it might be to love your kid, or it might be to do this. But if you got the knowledge, they're gonna happen anyway. You know, you're gonna love people. You're gonna love your neighbor. You're not ignorant. You know.
So love is in knowledge. I got it.
With that, you know, thank you. Okay. Like that's the conclusion. You know, this was great.
All right.
This was great. This was awesome. And I guess
if I wasn't so lazy, I'd write a book. But
that's so awesome, man. Well, give me some love, Pop. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Can I play your piano?
Oh, you know what?